The Plague by Albert Camus. Detailed book summary. Albert Camus' novel The Plague is a philosophical exploration of the human condition under extreme circumstances. Published in 1947, it is set in the Algerian city of Oran in the 1940s and uses the outbreak of a deadly plague as an allegory for the spread of fascism during World War II. It addresses themes of suffering, human resilience, and solidarity. The story is narrated by Dr. Bernard Riers, who is later revealed as the unnamed narrator chronicling the city's tragic experiences. Main characters: Dr. Bernard Riers, the central character and narrator. Riers is a doctor who fights the plague with persistence and rationalism. He symbolizes the power of human endurance and duty. Jean Theroux, a visitor to Oran, Theroux becomes an essential figure in organizing voluntary sanitary teams to fight the plague. His philosophical reflections on death and guilt play a significant role in the novel. Joseph Grand, the humble clerk with grand literary ambitions, Grand embodies the quiet heroism of ordinary people. Raymond Rambert, a journalist who initially seeks to escape the quarantined city to reunite with his wife, but eventually stays to help fight the plague, showing personal transformation. Father Panelou, a Jesuit priest who gives two significant sermons interpreting the plague as divine punishment and later faces his own crisis of faith. Cotard, a man who thrives in the chaos of the plague. Cotard represents opportunism and moral ambiguity during the crisis. Plot summary: The Plague begins. The novel opens in the coastal town of Oran, where life is portrayed as routine and indifferent. Suddenly, rats begin dying in large numbers. Dr. Bernard Riers is among the first to notice this troubling phenomenon. Soon, people in the town begin falling ill with symptoms of bubonic plague, high fever, swollen lymph nodes, and painful deaths. As the number of deaths rises, authorities place the city under quarantine, closing it off from the outside world. People are trapped inside, and life changes drastically as they confront the reality of isolation, disease, and fear. 2. Responses to the plague. Each character in the plague deals with the epidemic in a different way. Dr. Riers, with unrelenting dedication, works around the clock to care for the sick, refusing to give in to despair. He believes in fighting the plague, even if it seems impossible to eradicate, demonstrating existentialism's core belief that meaning comes through action, not belief in a greater plan. Jean Theroux, an outsider to the town, takes it upon himself to organize volunteers to fight the plague. His involvement is not driven by heroism, but by a deep sense of responsibility and morality. The plague's end and reflection. The plague finally recedes, and the city gates are opened. People rejoice, but the collective trauma lingers. Riers reflects on the events, revealing that he was the narrator all along, recounting the ordeal as a testimony to human perseverance and solidarity. He notes that while the plague has gone, it is never truly defeated and may return in the future. Key themes: the absurd. Camus presents the plague as a symbol of the absurdity of life, the random, indifferent forces that cause suffering and death. The characters' responses to this absurdity define them. Some, like Riers and Theroux, continue to fight despite knowing they may not win, while others, like Cotard, take advantage of the chaos. Suffering and solidarity. The novel explores how people cope with collective suffering. The plague forces the inhabitants of Oran to confront their shared vulnerability and compels them to act for the greater good, even when personal survival is uncertain. Existentialism and duty. Dr. Riers' relentless fight against the plague, despite its seeming futility, reflects Camus' existentialist philosophy. Riers' belief in duty over hope shows that humans create meaning through their actions, not through belief in a higher purpose. Isolation and exile. The quarantine of Oran reflects the theme of isolation, both physical and emotional. Characters are cut off from their loved ones, their normal lives, and even from a sense of certainty about the future. Conclusion: The Plague is not just a story of a medical disaster, but a profound reflection on the human condition, exploring how individuals and societies respond to suffering, fear, and mortality. Through its diverse cast of characters, Camus challenges readers to reflect on how they would act in the face of an indifferent universe. The novel remains relevant today, offering timeless lessons on the nature of suffering, solidarity, and the human spirit's capacity to endure.